Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Kabir. Before we begin today's story, I want to share something important. The stories you hear on this podcast are original. They are written by me or by Sarah. These are not AI generated tales. Some of them were written just recently, but others were written over 20 years ago. They are pieces of our past finally finding a voice today. If you enjoy what you hear, please take a moment to subscribe. It helps stories like these find new ears. Today, I bring you a story I wrote, a story about six friends, a beach trip, and a coconut. That was definitely not a coconut. It's called the Zebrowski Affair. So grab your headphones, get comfortable, and let's begin. So here's the setup: a college in Hyderabad, 300 students, freshly graduated, degrees in hand, and that weird mix of excitement and terror about the future. What's the plan? A trip, a big fat outing to the seashores of the Bay of Bengal, Sri Lanka Beach. The idea was simple: get to know students from other specializations, make friends, maybe even find love. You know, the usual. Now, among these 300 students, there was one group, a very special group. Six guys. Their names: Arun, Vamshi, Khaja, Kiran, Abbas, and Bhaskar. These six were inseparable. They ate together, failed together, and now they had a grand plan together: a startup. They were going to build a data scraping empire, make it big, become the next $1 billion story. The group had a clear hierarchy. Vamshi was the brains, the guy with the vision, the one who could look at a pile of garbage data and find gold in it. Then there was Arun. Arun was, how do I put this delicately? Arun was the heart, the nice guy, the one with the best intentions and the worst execution. The other four, Khaja, Kiran, Abbas, Bhaskar, they were somewhere in between. They were the loyal soldiers, caught between Vamshi's genius and Arun's, Arunness. So they are at the beach having the time of their lives, and then it happens. Vamshi sees her. Sukanya, same batch, different specialization. He'd seen her on campus 100 times, but that day in that light, with the sea breeze doing its thing, bam, he was gone, head over heels, and the feeling surprisingly was mutual. They started getting close, of course. This didn't go unnoticed. Sukanya's group had a few jealous types who weren't too happy about this outsider swooping in. But love, my friends, finds a way, as you know. It wasn't just Vamshi. Abbas, our guy from Vijayawada, found himself drawn to Sabira, a Hyderabadi girl with a sharp tongue and a smile that could light up the beach. Now, Abbas and Sabira's conversations were a whole other level of entertainment. Imagine a Vijayawada dialect and a Hyderabadi dialect trying to have a romantic conversation. It was like a linguistic tug of war. Kya Abbas, correct time pe aana? And Abbas would say, Ayyo, I'll come, tension mat lo. Comedy gold. But the real story, the one that would change their lives, started on a trek. The six guys decided to go on a long walk along the beach, about 7 kilometers from Sri Lanka. They're just walking, talking about their startup, when Arun spots something: a dark, round, coconut-shaped object, half buried in the sand. Now, Arun, being Arun, does what any sensible person would do. He kicks it. He tries to boot it back into the water, like he's Messi in the World Cup. But instead of soaring through the air, the object barely moves. It's heavy, too heavy for a coconut. Arun picks it up, brushes off the sand, and with a straight face announces, "Guys, I found a fortune." Vamshi takes it from him. It looks like a hard glass tumbler. Greenish tint. He cleans it off and it is embossed on the side. Zebrowski. Zebrowski. They all try to open the lid. They twist, they pull, they grunt. Nothing works. It's sealed shut. They don't want to break it. What if it's actually worth something? So they decided to keep it. Arun, the finder, becomes the keeper. He stuffs it in his bag and they carry on with the trek. The holiday ends, love in the air. Vamshi and Sukanya are texting. Abbas and Sabir are flirting. And the startup dream is alive. Vamshi, now a big data analyst, spends his days scraping social media, looking for trends, for unique words, for the next big thing. 2 years pass. One day, while scanning through the thousands of posts, a word pops up. Zebrowski. Vamshi almost scrolls past it, but something stops him. Zebrowski. Where had he heard that before? And then it hits him. The tumbler, the one Arun found on the beach. His heart starts racing. He digs into the post. It's vague. It says it's a Polish word, meaning someone from place called Zebro. That's it. Nothing more. He Googles it. Dead end after dead end. But Vamshi is stubborn. He goes to a local library, the old school kind with dusty books and the smell of history. And there, in a British era book, he finds a mention. A general from East India Company named Paul Francis. Reason for mention? He was sent back to England in disgrace, charged with stealing from the treasury a massive stash of Indian jewels and gold. No one knew how much he stole. No one knew where he hid it. And here's the kicker. The general's daughter's name was Zebrowski. Vamshi feels a chill. He reads on. General Paul Francis wasn't just a thief. He was also a metallurgical scientist, a genius with metals and alloys. Vamshi puts the book down. His mind is spinning. The tumbler, that stupid glass tumbler with the name Zebrowski on it, it had to be connected. It had to be a clue. He immediately calls Arun. Arun, do you have that thing? The tumbler from the beach? There is a pause on the other end. A long, uncomfortable pause. Arun says, Ha, I have it here. It's here, very safe. Safe? What do you mean safe? Safe, where is it? Oh, in the bathroom. I use it as a mug when I shave. And sometimes, when friends come over, it makes a great ashtray. Vamshi's brain short circuits. An ashtray? A shaving mug? This priceless artifact, this potential key to a hidden treasure, has been collecting Arun's stubble and cigarette butts for 2 years? Two thoughts cross Arun's mind. One, is it even worth it? The sheer yuck factor of using something that has been in Arun's bathroom. We have all seen Arun's bathroom. It's a biohazard. And two, forget the yuck. You have to overcome it. You have to get to the bottom of this. He chooses the latter. He rushes to Arun's place. Arun, with a grin that says, goes to the bathroom and retrieves the tumbler. He hands it to Vamshi. Vamshi looks at it. It's indescribable. There are strands of hair stuck on it, dried up shaving foam, and a layer of ash at the bottom. It looks like a science experiment gone wrong. Vamshi just stares at Arun. He doesn't say a word. He just stares. Then he explodes. Clean it. Clean it now. With bleach, with fire, with whatever you have. Just make it clean. Arun thoroughly enjoys Vamshi's misery, takes the tumbler, washes it under the tap with his bare hands, which makes Vamshi wince once more. And then, for the grand finale, dries it with the corner of his lungi. His lungi. The same lungi he's been wearing for 3 days. He hands it back to Vamshi with a triumphant smile. Vamshi takes it, holding it between two fingers like it's radioactive. Before leaving, he turns to Arun and says with utter seriousness, Arun, if you want to stay in this company, in this group, you need to learn what soap is. You need to discover the concept of clean. If not, you are fired. Fired from life. Note it. Arun, watching him leave, mumbles to himself. What a way to say thank you. I kept it safe for 2 years. Safe from thieves, safe from the elements. And this is the thanks I get. He shakes his head. Lungi is the most hygienic cloth in the world. These people don't understand culture. Vamshi is now sitting in his room. In front of him is a green tinted glass tumbler, clean finally. He examines it. The lid is concave. He tries to unscrew it. He twists left, nothing. He twists right, nothing. He tries left again, harder, nothing. And then it dawns on him. What if it reverse threaded? What if you have to turn it clockwise to open it? He gives it a gentle turn to the right. Click, the lid opens. He turns it again, and then pop. The lid comes off. Inside, there is a scroll. A small rolled up piece of parchment, yellowed with age. With trembling hands, Vamshi unrolls it. On it, it's a drawing, a triangle. At the left point, there is a drawing of a spear. At the right point, a tree. And on the line connecting them, a number. 113.64. At the top point, there is a drawing of an open book. And on the line from the left point to the top, another number. 121.26. But that's not all. From the top point, two long lines are drawn, cutting across the bottom line of the triangle. At the end of the line, there is a drawing of fort-like structure. At the end of the other line, there are four small parallel lines. And on these lines, two more numbers, 7.4 and 12.7. Vamshi stared at the scroll, spear, tree, book, fort, four lines, numbers. It was a riddle, a map, a treasure map, but a map to where? After weeks of research, he and his team concludes it had to be somewhere in Poland. The name Zebrowski was Polish. The triangle, the landmark, it had to be there. But Poland, none of them wanted to go on a wild goose chase to a country they knew nothing about. So, the scroll was carefully put away. The dream was put on hold. Life went on. Little did they know the answer was much closer than they thought. The gang decided to have a get-together, the usual catch-up, complain about work, pretend the startup was going somewhere. This time, the girls were also there. Sukanya, of course, was with Vamshi, and Sabira, Abbas's fiancée, was there too, snuggled up next to him. They were engaged now, and the only thing standing between them and the marriage was the startup getting funded. So yeah, no pressure. Sabira had brought a piece of paper and a pencil. She was helping her nephew with a school project. The topic: structures of Hyderabad. She was showing everyone how creatively her nephew had interpreted the assignment. Look at this, she said, holding up the paper. This is supposed to be Golconda Fort. Everyone leaned in. On the paper was a squiggly line, a few bumps, and what looked like a giant upside down cup. This, Sabira continued, pointing to the next drawing, is Charminar. On the paper were four shaky vertical lines standing side by side. Just four lines. That was it. The room erupted. Everyone was howling. Abbas was wiping tears from his eyes. Khaja was slapping his knees. Even Vamshi, the serious one, was chuckling. Arun, feeling emboldened, said, "This kid is better than me. I once drew a triangle and someone asked me why I drew a shape with four angles." More laughter, louder, harder, the kind of laughter that makes your stomach hurt. And then, suddenly, as it started, it stopped. Vamshi stopped laughing first, then Khaja, then Kiran, then Abbas. One by one, the smiles froze on their faces. Their eyes were wide, staring at Sabira's drawing. The only one still laughing was Sabira. She was laughing so hard, eyes closed, head thrown back. After a few seconds, she realized she was the only one making a sound. She opened her eyes. Six guys were staring at her like she had grown a second head. Six guys completely silent, eyes locked on the piece of paper in her hand. She felt a blush creep up her neck. She looked at Abbas, her eyes pleading. What? What happened? What did I do? Vamshi stood up slowly. He walked over to Sabira and pointed at her nephew's drawing. Sabira, he said, his voice calm and urgent. Can we take the drawings? Can we keep them? Sabira, confused and embarrassed, just nodded. Sure. They're just my nephew's terrible drawings, but yeah, you can take them, sure. Without another word, the six guys grabbed their thing, muttered quickly awkward goodbyes to their bewildered girlfriends, and ran out the door. The girls were left standing in the room looking at each other. Sukanya, what just happened? Sabira, I don't know. One minute I'm laughing, the next minute I'm being robbed of my nephew's art. Another friend, these guys are so weird, so weird. Meanwhile, the six friends were on their bikes, speeding through the Hyderabad traffic like their lives depended on it. They reached Vamshi's house in record time. Vamshi fumbled his keys, threw open the door, and ran to his cupboard. He pulled out the old scroll and unrolled it on the table. Then he placed Sabira's nephew's drawing next to it, the triangle on the scroll, the fort-like structure, the four parallel lines, the nephew's drawing of Golconda Fort, the nephew's drawing of Charminar, four shaky lines. It was a match, not an exact match, but the symbols were undeniable. The fort on the scroll was Golconda, the four lines were Charminar, the treasure wasn't in Poland, it was here, Hyderabad. The whole time it was right here. Vamshi looked up at the group. It's here. It's in Hyderabad. Arun, trying to contribute, said, that kid draws worse than me. Everyone ignored him this time. Khaja said, whoever drew that scroll originally, their drawing skills are terrible. Look at that fort. It looks like a potato with a wall. The kid is a terrible artist. Arun grimaced. Hey, be nice. He's just a kid. They went back to the scroll. Now they knew the landmark. The numbers made sense. Distances: 7.4 kilometers from Charminar, 12.7 kilometers from Golconda Fort, and a spear that was a temple, a famous temple in Hyderabad with a spear-like spire. They did the math, they surveyed the area, and they pinpointed the location. The The tree on the scroll, the banyan tree, it was in Jubilee Hills, and the point where all the lines converged, a three-storied bungalow on a 1 acre plot, a beautiful, massive, clearly very expensive bungalow. Another get-together was called. This time the girls were tight-lipped. They sat in the corner, whispering among themselves, shooting suspicious glances at the guys. They were not going to be embarrassed again. The guys tried to act normal, but they were bursting with excitement. Finally, Vamshi couldn't take it anymore. He stood up and told the whole story. The scroll, the numbers, the breakthrough, the bungalow in Jubilee Hills. He ended with a sigh. But it's useless, he said. It's a private bungalow, 1 acre in Jubilee Hills. We can't even afford the rent for a month, let alone buy it or take it on lease. We are stuck. The room was quiet. Then Sukanya, Vamshi's girlfriend, spoke up. Wait, she said slowly. Jubilee Hills? 3 stories? 1 acre? Whose house is it? Vamshi told her the location. Sukanya's eyes widened. That's Vaishnavi's house. My friend Vaishnavi. Her father owns that bungalow. You could hear a pin drop. Vamshi's jaw literally dropped. What? Your friend? Sukanya, are you serious? Sukanya nodded, a smile spreading across her face. I can set up a meeting with her father. His name is Raviraj. He's a big tycoon, runs factories, his partnership abroad. If anyone can help you, it's him. And just like that, the door was open. Sukanya spoke to Vaishnavi, Vaishnavi spoke to her father, and a meeting was arranged. Raviraj was an imposing figure, sharp suit, sharp mind, sharper eyes. Vamshi pitched his startup idea. He pitched the need for space in Jubilee Hills. He pitched the vision. He didn't mention the treasure. That was their secret. Raviraj listened. He asked questions. He nodded, and then he said no. Vamshi's heart sank, but then Raviraj spoke again. I won't lease it to you for a startup, but I will lease it to you because my daughter trusts your friend. 2 years. The outhouse is yours, but there's a condition. 2 crores for 2 years. Upfront. 2 crores. It was a fortune. It was impossible. But Vamshi, with the fire of treasure burning in his chest, looked Raviraj in the eye and said, Deal. They scraped together every rupee they had. They borrowed from parents, from friends, from anyone who would listen. They made the payment. The outhouse was theirs. Raviraj and his family left for a long vacation. The 6 guys moved in. They set up their office, and then the real search began. Vamshi started casually exploring the property. There was a large well in the background, old and deep, and there was a watchman, a Bulu, an old, loyal, terrifying watchman. One day, Vamshi was watching near the well, just looking around. Abulu appeared out of nowhere. He stood in front of Vamshi, blocking his path. He didn't say a word. He just pointed a finger at the well and drew a line across his own throat. The message was clear. Go near that well and you die. Poor Vamshi, a polished software guy who had never been threatened by a watchman before, backed away slowly. He told the gang. They all tried, one by one. Khaja tried, Kiran tried, Abbas tried. Each time Abulu appeared, each time the throat-slitting gesture, each time they retreated. Finally, it was our Arun's turn. Arun was confident. Watchman, please, I have dealt with worse. My landlady is scarier than him. I'll go at night, he won't even see me. That night, around 9 p.m., Arun slipped out of the office. He crept towards the well. He passed it. Nothing happened. He took another step. And then He felt it. Sharp, a sharp, searing pain in his butt. He looked down. A massive black Doberman had its jaws clamped firmly onto his backside. Arun's eyes widened in terror. He couldn't run, he couldn't scream. Adrenaline surged through him. With a burst of energy he didn't know he possessed, he shook the dog off and ran. He ran faster than he had ever run in his life. He saw the boundary wall, and in one incredible Olympic worthy leap, he vaulted over it, landed in a heap on the other side. The next day, he limped into the office and told the story. The gang listened, trying hard not to laugh. Vamshi patted him on the back. Arun, you're something else. You didn't find the treasure, but you lived to tell the tale, and that tale is truly legendary. Arun, still rubbing his bruised butt, said, I don't know how I jumped that wall. If it wasn't for the adrenaline, I would have fallen into the well. Vamshi froze. Fallen into the well? Arun nodded miserably. Yes, I was right next to it when the dog attacked. Vamshi's eyes lit up. The well, that's it. That's where it is. The treasure is in the well. Khaja was a good swimmer. They got scuba gear that night while Abulu was busy feeding his demon dog. Khaja lowered himself into the well. It was dark, cold, and terrifying. But at the bottom of his hands touched something. A chest. A huge metal chest. With immense effort, they hauled it up. The chest was old, rusted, but sealed tight. They pried it open, and inside there was no gold, no jewels, no sparkling treasure. There was a strange apparatus made of metal and glass with tubes and chambers, and next to it a slab of rock with writings carved into them. Sukanya, who was from a metallurgical background, studied the writings. Her face went pale. It's alchemy, an alchemical device. It's a machine that can turn iron into gold. Turn iron into gold? It was impossible. It was magic. It was everything. They had made it. They were rich beyond their wildest dreams. But then Sukanya kept reading, and her face grew even paler. There's more. It says, the device can create gold, but it can also bring destruction, chaos, the end of humankind. Do you understand, guys? If we can make gold from iron, gold becomes worthless, economies will collapse, countries will fight over the device, wars will be fought. We can't let this out. The room was silent. The dream had turned into a nightmare. Arun, who had been listening, suddenly stood up. He walked out and climbed onto the wall of the well. If you give this away, he shouted, if you give this away, I will jump. I will jump right now. After everything I have been through, after that dog bit my butt, you can't just give it away. The gang walked towards him slowly. Arun says, stop. Don't come closer or I'll jump. Khaja, without missing a beat, said, Arun, we are not coming to stop you. We are coming to get a better view. Jump. Go on. We want to see it. Arun looked at the others. They were all nodding. Jump. We are tired of you anyway. Arun was stunned. He looked at the well, then back at his friends. He cursed them all, climbed down from the wall, and walked back inside. Forget it. I'm not giving you the satisfaction. They made a decision. They would use the device just enough to make 2 crores for Raviraj. They would pay their debt and then they would hide it forever. They made the gold, they paid Raviraj, and then they took the chest to a secluded place near Vishakhapatnam. They found a hill and they hid it deep inside a cave. But they needed one last thing, a new map, a decoy. They asked Arun to draw a new triangle. He drew 3 lines. Vamshi looked at it. Arun, that's a square. They gave up and made the map themselves. At one point, they drew a hospital, at another, a seaport. They hid the chest. And then they took the original scroll, the one from the tumbler. They put it back in the bottle, but this time the bottle had a new word embossed in it. VAKKKAB, the initials of the 6 friends. Vamshi, Arun, Khaja, Kiran, Abbas and Bhaskar. They went out on a fishing boat in Vizag's sea and they threw the bottle into the deep, dark water. As the bottle floated away, Vamshi looked at his friend. They had started looking for treasure and found a curse. They had found the secret of infinite wealth and chosen to give it up. They still had a struggling startup, but they also had a story no one would ever believe. And somewhere deep in the Bay of Bengal, a bottle with the name Waka floats with the fishes, a reminder of the time 6 friends found the world's greatest treasure and decided the world was better off without it. And that, my friends, was the Zebrowski Affair, a story of friendship, greed, stupidity, and ultimately wisdom. If you liked this episode, please share it with someone who needs a good story today. Don't forget to subscribe to Kahani Suno with Kabir and Sara so you never miss a tale. These stories are original, they are ours, and we tell them for you. This is Kabir signing off. Keep listening, keep smiling, and remember, the best treasures are the ones we choose to let go.